Hello there, and we are live. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to episode 27 of the Dial and Claude show. See, yeah, guys, we're just coming from Jess' show. We should have started earlier, but of course, when Jess calls, we just have to follow. So, and that was a great show, man. See, I got my partner down here, Oregon Gunner. Talk to these people, man.
What's up, everybody? Thanks again for having me on, Tony. Episode 27. And you know what? We're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Po, po, po. I'll be honest, like I was telling you earlier, the game ended, the penalties were done. My son walked in the front door just as the penalties were ending and everyone was hugging. I had a tear in my eye. My son could see it. He actually gave me a because we haven't been there 14 years. I'm sorry. I was very emotional yesterday when we won that game. And it's one of those things. It's like as you go through life, Tony, some people, they have relationships and then they get married, they get divorced, they have kids,
Yeah.
they may find someone else and get married again and so forth. And our lives leave different paths. But what's the one constant? The one constant, Arsenal Football Club.
Arsenal Football Club. It will never leave us. It will always be there. It will always be there.
Right.
See, Dal. See,
yeah.
Despite going through, for the first time in 14 years, Arsenal haven't crossed the quarterfinals. Haven't been to the quarterfinals.
Right.
It was very important that yesterday that we crossed that hurdle, that we break that curse. To what extent did we break that curse yesterday? And just foreshadow what it's going to what's gonna happen from here on. Arsenal, top of the league in the Premiership, quarterfinals, Champions League. What's your take, man?
Well, I'm happy to be in both. I'm happy that we are absolutely in the title race. We had talked about that off and on and said, are we in it? Are we not in it? Looking at schedules ahead, so forth, and being, critical about what we're going to come up against here in the next few weeks. But with the recent run of form in the league, with I think we're 33 goals scored and 4 conceded. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal run, and any team would be excited, jazzed, to have that sort of run, and then looking forward to the opposition each week, hoping to continue. But I gotta, be realistic, my brother. I did not like what I saw yesterday. I was nervous in my gut, my heart, my mind from minute one till the last kick of the penalties. I just didn't see the Arsenal that we've seen in the last 6 weeks. What I saw was a team that looked tired and leggy, like you had mentioned before, and I agree with that 100%. Declan Rice cannot do it all. Havertz can't do it all. Saka can't do it all. And this is where subs come into play. We're in the ass end of the season, in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We have to make our subs useful. And he has to sub the right players in, Tony, at the right time. And again, that's a big critical piece that we missed yesterday was subbing. It was too reactive, right? He's waiting for other teams to make a move. And I get that. It's a chess-like mentality, which I understand. But Arteta, you were the chess master, right? The teams we're going to face now are of levels that we've come across in, like you've said, like almost 14 years. I mean, we've gone out so many times to tougher teams. And we got the luck of the draw with PSV and Lens and so forth in our group stage. And we somewhat got the luck of the draw in Porto. And like Steffi says, they're very organized to just shut us down. And that's what they came out to do yesterday. And let's not forget other teams will use that as a blueprint. It's the Porto manager could have seen games we played against Newcastle. He could have, which really looked like yesterday when we played Newcastle. I think it was the beginning of this year, or maybe it was last season, where they basically just rolled on the ground. So Porto with their dark arts, we got through it, but I don't think that we're really in a position to say, oh, bring on City, bring on Barcelona, bring on Madrid.
We're not there yet.
Right.
We're not there yet.
We're ready for PSV and Dortmund, and like you said earlier, possibly PSG, because there's a lot of drama going on, and I think they're a mismatch of players, right, that aren't really cohesive, but they still win games in the French league for whatever that's worth. But yeah, you're right. We're just not there yet. You can see the steps and advancement and the better play over the last 8 weeks for sure. But you're right. We're just a couple players short, a couple of this or that. I don't know what. I think we're just, maybe it's players, strategies that Arteta just maybe has under his sleeve he's not introduced yet. I don't really think it's the latter. I want to focus more on players that and the moves that we did not make in January, right?
In
to
January,
get where we could be now, right? If we had brought in a couple of decent players, Azuba Mende and Neto, I would feel so much more confident in going against Madrid, City in this tournament, for sure. And so I think January is, if we lose, let's say we get drawn to Barcelona and Madrid and we lose, we have to pinpoint to January of why we didn't make any reinforcements and purchases. Because these teams were coming, and so it starts to think like, well, how much faith does Arteta really have in any of the players outside the starting 11, Tony?
But again, that was what I said in Jez's show. Shout out to Steffi, who have joined us from Jez's channel. Big ups to you, Steffi. We appreciate you on this channel. Please sub and smash the like for us. Bagav is also down here, long time member. Big ups to you, Bagav. Luke James is also down here with us. Big up to everyone who've come in down here. But see, I looked at just before we started the penalties, Gabriel Jesus came from the bench.
Right.
Eddie Nketiah came from the bench. And there was no notable contribution from both of them. In fact, Gabriel Jesus latched onto a chance that he should have at least make use of. He should have made do of that chance, at that time. But he just sort of just played it directly into the, there was no kind of trickery. There was no skill. He just placed it. He just wanted to nutmeg the goalkeeper, at his near post, and it didn't work. There's something about Gabriel Jesus coming from the bench. He's not potent, and in fact, I will be very, very wary if Kai Havertz doesn't start in the remainder of the matches we have, rather than Gabriel Jesus. And the proof is in the pudding. Kai Havertz has although we'll be coming into this Kai Havertz topic later on, but Kai Havertz is our second highest goal scorer right now. He's helped us. He's scored some certain kind of goals this season that has really helped us in our season. But seeing Gabriel Jesus come back from injury, he hasn't really done anything. Even in the match yesterday, very drab. The same thing with Eddie Nketiah, very drab. What we have on the bench isn't good enough. How about that?
The drop in level is massive. It's like a canyon. I mean, you go, and I don't even rate Kai Havertz, but he's been superb the last few weeks. Obviously, has been the striker we've needed, but not the one we actually need, right, to really propel us into that upper echelon of top clubs now that we used to be with Henry, right? Back in the day, I mean, we were considered one of the best clubs in the world, and now we've kind of fallen down the ladder, which is it's unacceptable in some ways, but you can kind of see it happening, right, with Wenger leaving and so forth. But the drop in quality, you hit the nail on the head. That's the biggest issue. It's not even getting the name in. Like, someone was like, your friend Docs and Copy was Mudryk. Like, okay, but what do you think he's going to do? Like, what can he do that ESR can't? And that's the thing, is that the players that we're looking at are so close to players that we already have. And that's why we don't see much improvement. It's again, the Declan Rice purchase broke us through the 100 million ceiling, and it proved to the rest of the world that, hey, Arsenal are willing to spend this kind of money, on a player that was really decent and good, but nobody considered Declan Rice world class at West Ham, and I don't think even considered world class right now at Arsenal. The potential is obviously there, but the thing is that when you spend that kind of money, you're sending a signal, right? That you're in now the $100 million club, and you can look at other players in that sort of bracket, but we don't, right? We settle. We end up settling. So Rice was the one-off purchase. I don't think we'll buy $100 million player, Tony, for another 2 or 3 years. Maybe 2. So. Maybe I'm completely off base. But the thing is that we have to find players that fit, obviously, the system, but aren't such a drop in talent and and all the jazz and stuff that comes with that. Because ESR would have been effective yesterday, but was he really been a game changer? I just don't know. I mean, he would have been maybe 3 seasons ago, right?
But again, why doesn't the manager trust this guy? Yeah, because yesterday's game was crying out for a speedster who would just possess the ball, like just someone like Jack Grealish for Manchester City. That kind of entity that would just hold onto the ball, slow it down a bit because he's a natural possessor of the ball. Yeah, and again, get a run, and make the Porto players run about just a little bit because you have that speed to follow with your possession skills. It was crying out for someone like a Gabriel Martinelli yesterday, but we never had one. The only person close to the speed of Gabriel Martinelli yesterday was Emile Smith Rowe, and yet again ignored by the manager when we clearly needed something like that yesterday.
Well, yeah, and look at the times he's put him in. I mean, remember he put him in against Liverpool when we were down in like 10 minutes to go. He hasn't given ESR a fair shake to really go out there. First of all, put in a full 90 minutes, and second of all, in a game that really mattered. And that's the thing. It would have been egg on his face to put ESR in with 10 minutes to go against Porto, and he does nothing. I don't know where the fan base is on this kid. A lot of them are saying, "Oh, ESR in, we need him." Well, I'm over the fence now. ESR out. If we're not going to play him, then we need to fill the spot with someone who's useful and who's better. And it's not going to be a League 2 French kid, that we have to build up, because I've said it a million times. We are not in the position right now to build players up. We are in the position now to win trophies. We need to focus on winning trophies, not building players' careers up and trying to turn so-and-so into the next Henry or Bergkamp, etc. We need to focus on winning trophies and buying players with experience that'll get us there. If we do win the Champions League or the league, I'd take either one at this point. Both would be phenomenal, but I just don't think that's realistic. I'll take either one right now, but then I don't want to turn a page on the summer, Tony, and say, "Oh, we're going to get 3 new players in that we've never heard of," right? To fill players that we have heard of. Because if we get 3 no names in, 3 names are going out, right? So if we're not filling the talent and skill gap to make to the players that we're bringing in even better, then what's all that for? And maybe that's the block we came against, the train wreck, and we came up against a barricade in January of trying to get players in, but those teams aren't going to always let them go in January, as you know, because they're in the middle of a season too, right? Like Real Sociedad's flying. They don't want to just let Zubamendi go and be like, "Oh, well, there goes, one of our top mids." And they're going to want to bargain for him. Like, just because they give us 50 million doesn't mean they're not telling, Madrid or somebody 65, 70 million or whatever. So I don't know. I think
I get it.
I hope January doesn't come back to bite us in the ass in this competition.
And that's the problem. And that's why we're also talking about replacements down here. Steffi was also saying something, and I've pulled up that comment down here. She says, Neto is a good player, but so injury prone. So many moaned at us not signing a striker yet. We've got the best goal difference in the league. But again, yeah, of course, when you look at what Steffi just said, it's true. Yeah, we're the team with the highest goal scored in the league this season.
Right,
But again,
right.
does it mean that we don't need a striker?
Well,
You
it's one
know,
of those things.
in the
Remember
team.
how we talked about City when Jesus was at City, how Jesus is their striker, doesn't score the goals. The goals are spread
Mm,
out around the midfield, right? And so, and I
mm,
think I mentioned this on a show last week, but maybe we're wrong. Maybe Arteta has taken a page out of Pep's book and learned to spread the goals around the midfield, because that's what we're seeing. Havertz, Trossard, Odegaard, Rice scoring goals, right? And then who's kicking
Even
in with
White,
some? Ben White's
Ben
got a
White is
couple
scoring goals.
weeks. Gabrielle's got, I think, 7 or 8 goals this
Gabby.
season for hitters. So maybe, just maybe, Arteta has taken a page out of Pep's book to learn to spread the goals around the midfield like we're doing, and not focus so much on a striker. Because, like I said, when they had Jesus before Haaland came in, Jesus only had, 12, 14 goals that season?
Mm,
But Foden had
mm,
9, or KDB had like 12. I mean, the goals were spread. So they get rid of Jesus, they dish him off to us, they get Haaland, and then last season, all their play focuses on getting the ball up front to Haaland. A complete diversion of what they've done for season
complete
after season
diversion.
after season. So that's the thing. If we get a top striker in there, are we now going to just focus everything on that striker, or are we going
Yeah.
to spread the ball around and expect goals from midfielders? I would expect the latter, because that seems to be working. At least it has for the last couple months. And
Yeah.
that's why I scratch my head when we come to Porto. It's like all this great attacking we do against those other crap teams, and I know they're crap teams compared to Porto. But I mean, is Newcastle really that bad, worse than Porto? Probably not. I mean, is Crystal Palace that worse than Porto? I don't know.
But again, I really do think, yeah, because we have to look into that game, yeah. But just before we go and look into that game, I really do feel like Arsenal, the fan base, yeah, that we really looked down on FC Porto as a team. We didn't really give FC Porto the credit they deserved. Porto is third in that Portuguese La Liga right now, and as we speak, they are just about 6 points behind
Right.
Benfica, of which they
And
did
they're
beat
always in the Champions
Benfica
League.
about 5-0. Yeah, they beat Benfica for about
their main
5-0.
rival.
So it's a decent team. Yeah, I know that they have Pepe, who's 41-year-old, manning their center
Champions League's
defense.
under his belt.
But again, that team is home to some of the most trickish and most skillful players, in Europe. In that team, they have Pepe, one of the most amazing prospects in Portuguese football. They have Evanilson, who is also a very, very decent striker. They also have Taremi, who came in and showed flashes of what he could do yesterday. He scored a penalty yesterday. And they have Conceição, who is also a very, very good player. You could see him running deep into that left back position and trying to, get face to face with Kivio, who, by the way, I think he had a very, very good game yesterday anyway. But again, FC Porto was a team that literally have lots of ballers in that team, man. I don't know where this comparison with Burnley, that Porto team, it's a skillful team. Well, I think we really, really did underrate this FC Porto team. This team would give any big team in this Champions League a run for their money.
Right. And that's the thing. I think Porto would beat several teams in the Prem. Right. I mean, they would beat the mid-table teams on the day. I just think that Porto's tactics, though, and with yesterday were absolutely disgraceful. I'm sorry, though. Every time we touched them, it seemed like they fell over. Every time they lost the ball, they would try to foul us to get the ball back. I mean, it wasn't the tiki-taka Portuguese, style that we come to expect from teams like that, right? It was a lot more physical than I think we anticipated. But with that said, yeah, I mean, Porto, they're in the tournament for a reason, and they're veterans in the tournament. I mean, yeah, they get knocked out in the group stage once in a while. They make it to the round of 16 or something, but usually they get knocked out by that time, just like they did this time.
Yeah.
But they consistently are there. We just like we were consistently there for 14 years straight in a row, until the bottom fell out and Tottenham was the team that started
onto the wheels fell off.
But all that's history now, right? I mean, we've crossed a major threshold. 14 years without going to the quarterfinals. Here we are. It just, the display wasn't very good, but we still got through it. Big up, Nick. Hope you're doing well, buddy. We still got through it. So
Nick is from Germany. Big ups.
Oh, big up. Nice. I think we still got through it. So we show the perseverance that we've shown this season. Last season, we were nicking games 2-1, so forth. But I just think that if we get a top team, unfortunately, like Madrid, Barcelona, people are saying Barcelona are trash. I'm sorry. They are not trash. They're not trash at all. I mean, yeah, they may be dropping some points, but let's be real. I think that if we were really, really to go toe to them at Camp Nou, they would do us pretty well. Robert Lewandowski, give me a break. I mean, he's going to cause problems for Gabriel and Saliba. But besides all that,
again, Arsenal, we always have this bad luck in these draws. Yeah, we're gonna draw a big team. This is fact. Yeah, let's don't pretend as if we're going to be getting PSV and Dortmund. No, we're not. We are the Arsenal. We know our lot in this European front. Yeah, they always deal us a deadly blow. Exactly, they always deal us a deadly blow. So definitely, we might be getting Real Madrid, but don't be shocked if we get Real Madrid. But again, seeing that team play against Porto yesterday, are we ready for a team like an FC Porto? Are we ready for a team like Bayern Munich on their day when they have Kane and fighting for the only trophy that they know they can fight for this season because Bayer Leverkusen is running away with that German Bundesliga, Harry Kane would definitely want to have a few words with the Arsenal in the European front. So, all these things. Do you think we're ready if we draw a Real Madrid, a Bayern Munich on Friday? Are we ready for that? Or do you think, hey, this is the Arsenal, we'll have a go?
I think two things. I think the team, this may sound weird to some, I think the physicality for Bayern Munich was too much. But I think we could deal with Madrid because they're much softer on the ball, right? They pass and move. They don't tackle much. They don't foul much. So that's less of a physical obstacle for us. And I think that's number one. Physicality is our number one weakness, even though we have upgraded with Partey and Declan Rice, a little more steel in the midfield, which we've needed for, the last decade or so. But now that they're here, that's great. But the thing is that if we, I can kind of see us giving Madrid a game, and because they won't fall to the ground like Porto, and because they won't hammer us like a Burnley or somebody like that. You know what I mean? It won't be that physical confrontation. It'll be flair.
Yeah.
Right? We're gonna see Rodrigo, Vinny Jr. just tiki-taka all over us. But I think at the same time, that sort of plays into our hands because we can adjust to that. Like we can adjust defensively. Where I think we fall off is when we don't match the physical abilities of the other team. And then the other team plays long balls that while we're so pushed up at the halfway line, we're like, oh shit, the whole defensive line has to run back. Those are our weaknesses: counterattack and physicality. If a team like Madrid wants to put their foot on top of the ball and spin it around and do Cruyff turns and so forth, when there's nobody pressuring them, by all means, go do that because that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to beat us on flair and trickery, right? Not physical dominance. It's going to be trickery and quick one-touch passing. Yeah. But I think we adjust to that because we have a good defensive setup with Starsky and Hutch, Saliba and Gabriel in there. I think they're smart enough to realize that, okay, if it's not physical, then we can handle it. Because it's the physicality, Tony, that nobody wants, right? Gabriel doesn't want to be pushed off the ball, right? Saliba doesn't want to be pushed around. Declan Rice doesn't want to be pushed around. Jorginho, 32 years old, he's not going to let some 27, 26-year-old punt push him around. So I just think that it's the physicality that kills us. But someone like Madrid, yeah, they can score some incredible goals, but we can use our physicality on them because they are not physical at all, and they avoid it. They avoid, playing full body football. It's all finesse.
Yeah.
I just think that may play into what we want to do better than Bayern Munich, who would I think, are going to run us off the pitch. Even now,
run us off the pitch.
They're stronger, they're faster. Harry Kane's a point man. They've got Leroy Sané who's scoring goals. They've got who's the other kid?
Yeah.
Coman is on the team.
Alfonso Davis, I think. Alfonso Davis is there.
He's going to give our wide, our fullbacks problems. I'm not too concerned about Gabriel Saliba. I still think that they will have solid games no matter who we go against, right? Because we've seen them play well against City, right? We've seen them play well the last 8 weeks. We've seen them play well against Liverpool, which are fantastic. They did have one shot in the whole second half. And that's where I kind of see, Real Madrid, that Liverpool type. Liverpool's more physical. But if we can keep those physical teams off us, and again, let Madrid or Barcelona do their ticky-tacky thing, put them under pressure, they will give up the ball. It all depends completely to me on our fullbacks, because that to me is where our weakest spot is. It's our left back and right back are our weakest spot. And shout out to Ben White and Zinchenko and Kiwior. Kiwior up against Rodrigo. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, Rodrigo's a prodigy kid at 12 years old.
That also reminds me, but before I go to this question, shout out to the Arsenal History and More lovely show we had at your channel, Jez. Big ups to you. And Steffi is down here, a new subscriber. A new subscriber is also here, Nick from Germany, our brother. Big ups to you, man. He's a Man City fan, but, he just started joining our shows. Big ups to you, Nick. You're welcome. And, of course, my moderator, Drew Gunners, is down here. Big up to you, Drew Gunners, man. And Jez, big ups, man. Lovely show we had. Steph says, hi, Jez. Now, Steffi actually told us here that it looks like Bukayo Saka looked tired yesterday. We all know that Martinelli missed out of playing yesterday via injury. Right. To what extent do you think that these injuries and fatigue would start, creeping into this Arsenal team? And you heard what Ken said here. There will become a time we can't actually continue to play at this pace. Look how we're mauling teams, beating these teams. For me, I always do believe in the law of diminishing returns. There will be a time, when you just keep going. There'll just be a time that there will be a natural fall. Do you think there would, those natural fall will come into this Arsenal team? Do you have faith in this manager to curtail them? Because we're playing in a style, that's just one way. Whenever we find ourselves around teams that know how to truncate, know how to deal with us with the dark arts, know how to employ tactics to be able to truncate the fluidity with which we play our game, Arsenal completely have no idea. It's like we're totally lost, in the moment. Like, to what extent are these things going to, come back to haunt us? We'll see in the next round of the quarterfinals coming up.
Yeah. Well, I think you just said it right there. It will come back to haunt us. The past will come back to haunt us. It really depends who we've got in front of us, Tony. I think I think Arteta, as much as I slam the guy, as much as a lot of us do, we don't think he's the proper manager for Arsenal, and I still believe that. I think there's better managers that can probably get better results out of this group of guys, but that's still debatable, right? But for what he's done so far is that he's able to make adjustments, and I think Kenny Ken's right. You can't play the full press every single game, week in and week out. You just cannot do that. You're going to tire out your legs. You're going to increase the chances of injury, and whatever other things are involved with that. But the thing is that style has been winning us games. So I think as Arteta, you don't want to confuse the squad and go back to doing something that we did that's just not working, right? And what we did yesterday wasn't really working. I didn't see the full blitz. I saw, we were pressing the best we could, but they got out of the press with ease, right? And so, and if we're pressing that high up and they get out of it as easy as Porto did, let's say a City or a Madrid, we are going to get punished. And that's where I said the weaknesses will be at the fullback position. Oh, okay. A little buffering.
Looks like
a little buffering. If Ben White loses the ball against Madrid on this side, and Vinny Jr.'s on the left side, we're going to get smoked. And that's why Arteta's game plan will have to be, maybe I don't move Ben White up enough. Maybe he doesn't overlap as much. Or maybe he just overlaps at specific times when, the positioning is there to do it. And that's going to be the chess game that Arteta's going to have to play with Ancelotti, because he's coming to play chess. And if Arteta's coming to play checkers, he's in for a world of hurt, because it's little things like that are going to kill us. And I truly believe if we get Madrid, or even Bayern Munich with their flash wingers, that's the weakness of us is going to be the fullback positions pushing too far up the pitch, and we're getting caught on the counter. Because I am very confident in Saliba and Gabriel neutralizing a center forward or striker. Harry Kane, maybe, but let's say the striker for, I don't know, Dortmund, I'm not too concerned about. I can't think of his name, on a Kanu or something like that. The striker for PSV, I'm not too worried about, right? But it's the wingers I'm worried about. It's Ben White being out of position. Yeah. It's Kiwior being out of position. It's a diagonal pass, and Kiwior can't reach it with his right foot, and the player gets behind him, right? Those are the things that I worry about coming up, is literally the fullback positions. I'm solid with the middle of the park right now. Jude Bellingham, bring him on, because I think Rice, if we stick Rice to Jude Bellingham, he doesn't get a sniff. If Rice
but again, I get, but again, these are the areas where we do need the expertise of people like Thomas Partey in the team. Yeah, but I do believe if he comes back to full fitness, we'll be having one very, very important player in our hands in the midfield to help us in this title run. And we do need someone like him to just help us out, because there will be time when Declan Rice can't do it alone, where he'll be outrun in the box, where he'll be, because that manager yesterday, he choked that midfield with fast and very tricky players in the middle of the park. He put in two defensive midfielders playing in the double pivot. I'm talking of Nico and Varela, fast trickery, and they were just feasting on every loose ball that Arsenal, were throwing away in the middle of the pitch. Yesterday, Declan Rice lost the ball most of the time. Even Martin Odegaard was just hacked off the ball most times, like too comfortably. And these are the areas that we have a problem with.
Yeah, I agree with what you said earlier. I think you and Jess had a little disagreement on Rice. Rice was very average yesterday, but he couldn't help it, because he was going up and down, losing the ball going past him. I mean, there was times the ball was passed to him and it was like 3 feet out in front of him. He couldn't even get his foot on it, But I think Rice was very average yesterday. And I think that has to do with the last 6-7 weeks of football, because he's been intense box-to-box midfielder for the last 6 weeks. He's been running his ass off and scoring goals for it too. So big up Declan Rice. But I think what you said earlier, what goes up must come down. And I don't want it to come down, and I don't think it's going to hit, but I'm still thinking towards the end of the season, and if we get into a semifinal, one of those trophies is not going to be ours. Yeah. We are not going to win the Champions League. We didn't do the business in January, bro. We didn't do the business in January. We don't have the strength to do that. If we pull that out, then holy shit, I'm giving, geez, I'm putting Arteta on my Christmas cards, see what's ahead, bro. And we all know from history, like I'm saying here, Drew Gunners, Byron's not that great this season. They just sure look great when they play us.
Yeah, definitely. See,
you know,
we have 18
be
days
up
of
for it.
rest. Yeah, we have 18 days
Right.
of rest.
That's a
Do,
plus.
do, do you think this is coming at a good time where we need to
Yes,
rest more players
absolutely, absolutely.
for them to come back refreshed?
Yep.
Do, do you think this is a welcome development, or do you think this will truncate the kind of like cohesion and the consistency and just that connection that I've been building over these weeks, since we came back from Dubai? Will this 18 days layoff, will it kind of like affect our boys in a way that will be detrimental to both
No,
competitions that were flying our colors right now?
no, it's going to help because the Porto game was a lot of emotion, right? There's a lot of build up for the City game. We need a break. We have been rampant, Tony. 34 goals, bro. 33 goals, 4 conceded. That's rampant. That's rabid. I mean, that's insane. Like I said, like we said before, any fan of any other squad would be losing their freaking mind over that kind of goal scoring record right now. And what comes up must come down. The brakes have to be pressed, and now's the perfect time. Perfect time.
Definitely.
And since his international
Return.
duty, I don't really watch that stuff. I don't even think the players give 100% in international duty stuff, to be honest, unless it's a big game. I think they're going to go through the motions against Brazil and Belgium and just, I think the Arsenal players will at least. I can't speak for the rest of them.
Mm,
Yeah, right.
um,
But it's a
yeah,
break.
that was.
Right? It's a big break that we need. And I would love for him to take him to Dubai for a few days, because whatever he did at Dubai worked, right? But I do think
Mm,
that this time, with the massive pressure and the emotions we went through yesterday, and now looking at City, coming up, the break time is perfect. I get it.
yeah, definitely,
Come on,
definitely.
people want
Um,
it,
uh, Dow, would you just take us through David Raya yesterday? Important player for this team right now. I remember when he came in, we didn't really he was a little bit shaky, but right now, I think he's come to that Arsenal team and he has made that number one shirt his own. What do you think? Top saves yesterday, man. Top saves.
Number one keeper in the EPL, most clean sheets. Was absolutely fantastic yesterday. And yeah, I'm in the mud over David Ray. I didn't see the reason to bring in a keeper. I thought Ramsdale was it. But I've seen flaws at Ramsdale's game too, and I don't see Ramsdale making those saves. I just don't picture it, Tony. Something about him is too erratic. He
Mm,
gets too wound up and erratic. And David Raya just has a calmness about him that Ramsdale doesn't have. And my biggest critique was, well, Raya's in here. What sort of time does he have to build communication with the back four? How much time does he have to build a relationship with the back four? That's a key component of any squad, as you know, and people in the chat. Your defensive four and your keeper have to be in tune, from the get-go. And so the only real mistakes I've seen Raya made, somebody throw something in there, was the one against City, and they didn't even score. Where he kind of fumbled it off the post, and we're like, oh shit, it's going in. But it didn't. So I don't know. At this point, Ray is the goalkeeper.
yeah.
Ramsdale, sorry, you're going to find another home unless you want to be second string. If Ramsdale wants to take a pay cut and be our second string keeper, I'm more than willing for that. Because he's a good second string, but he ain't going to take a pay cut. Let's be realistic. He's going to want
But
to get
that's
the Blues.
the problem. I don't even trust him as a second string goalkeeper. I'm not convinced of Ramsdale right now. Look at the stinker he had against Brentford. I'm not confident in him as a player no more. So I think it's a bit time to
Yeah,
go in the summer. The final question before we go. FC Porto manager was complaining that Mikel Arteta kind of like said some words in Spanish about his mom or something like that. Uh, Do you think Mikel Arteta is that kind of guy to do that kind of a thing?
No, but I'll call his mom a dirty whore right here on stream. Fuck that Porto manager. Arteta didn't say shit to him. Come on. He said that before. He has said that before, actually. I read a quote that he has said that before about opposition managers talking bad about my mom or my wife. You know she's dead, right? Give it a break. He was doing it up, smoking cigars over at the Porto Stadium a couple weeks ago. He can go eat an ass, bro. I don't care. He was yelling at the refs. I mean, the way he had them play, falling down. I mean, I don't care about any of his family members.
Yeah. See, Dal, yeah.
God.
See, Dal, give us a prediction for that game against Man City. I know we'll come back here to talk about it just before we go.
City, I gotta go 2-1. Declan Rice in the 92nd minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, because Dal has to go somewhere else, so we have to close down the show. And of course, we went to Jez's channel. So thanks for joining us today. Tomorrow I'll be having another show. I'll be with the crew tomorrow. So you have to join us 7 p.m. UK time tomorrow. So please join us tomorrow. Shout out to everyone who joined us today: Drew Gunners, Jezza, the assembled Carl Ross. In the building. Carl Rossi, how you doing, brother? You okay, man? Big ups to you. He says win. Yeah, definitely we have to win that one. Drew Connor says 2-1 to the Arsenal. Yeah, sure, definitely.
There's a question. Assembled sent a question. Do you want to answer the Assembled's question?
Oh, you can answer it.
Oh yeah, if Arsenal so interesting. No, because they should put their faith now in Raya and find someone to work under Raya that Raya can kind of bring along. That's my thing. If we get another top keeper to assemble, it just becomes another battle, right? Another fight between the two, essentially. And let's be realistic. Ramsdale does not want Raya around. So, yeah, no, we need to bring someone who's very good, but not, top of the game. Because Raya, I think we need to solidify. See you, Steffi. Raya needs to solidify the position and be the one. And if we get in that cycle assembled, it never ends. You know what I mean, bro? If we start looking for bigger and better every single window, which I think we should be doing in some cases, but goalkeeper is not one of them. After what I saw with Raya yesterday, I fully back him after his display yesterday, because that was I don't think he's ever played in a Champions League game before. I don't think he's ever felt that pressure before. And he saved 2 pens, bro, which pens I don't think Ramsdale saves. But the thing is, Assemble, is it something we really need? Do we really need that?
We don't need that, man.
Competition. That's the thing.
Yeah. We need to take a cue from what happened.
Go ahead, Tony. What are you going to say?
I said we need to take a cue. We need to take a cue of what happened with Raya and Ramsdale, because it affected the team in the long run. So I don't need that type of competition again in the goalkeeping area. Let Raya handle it for now. Let's focus on winning the league and winning trophies for now. That's what I think.
And it's being realistic with an incoming keeper saying, sorry, we're bringing you in, but you're not going to be number one. And those are conversations that you and Arteta have to have with every player that comes in. If they're not a starting player, you need to be honest and transparent about what their role is at the club. Good rotation, competition, absolutely. There's next season there'll be plenty of Carabao Cup games for an upcoming keeper to play. And that's my thing. If I'm Arteta and I bring in another keeper, let's say from, I don't know, Italy or Spain or something, or America, and they're second place to David Raya, I'm going to give them some Carabao Cup games against lesser competition. But other than that, they're not coming near a Premier League or Champions League or even an FA Cup game if they're an up-and-coming keeper. You know what I mean? My second string, Carabao Cup games, 2 or 3 of them if we make it through, and that's it. There's no reason to break David Raya for any reason now. He has earned his position. So if we brought in someone who's like an O-Block from Atletico Madrid, maybe then there's a discussion there. But bringing a no name in from America, I wouldn't just say, "Oh, David Raya, you've got to do this and that now." No, David Raya is the keeper at Arsenal Football Club. And peace out, Aaron Ramsdale. Hope you enjoy West London or wherever you go. I'm hoping it's Nice or France. We could go follow, Bert Leno or wherever the hell those guys went to, like Aaron Ramsey and all that. Remember when they all went to
All right.
France? So
Exactly, man. Oregon, Oregon Goon, shout out your channel, man. To that, let's go.
Check me out on Oregon Goon on YouTube, on infamous_Dal on Instagram, and every Friday with the American Idiots show with TJ Warren and CMO Sports Connor. And then catch me every Tuesday now, Tony, with my man Tony. Wednesday's the exception. We're moving our show, me and Tony, to Tuesdays, 10:30, 11 a.m. my time. That's, 7 p.m. UK time. So, yeah, that's basically my YouTube life.
Definitely. Dal, thanks for popping into the show today, because I do recognize that we went to Just Show and we had to come here. I just wanted this to be a short one before we close it off. So we'll continue from that next week. Everyone, join us tomorrow, 7 p.m. I have a surprise show for you guys tomorrow. So, just be down here with us 7 p.m. tomorrow. As for me and Oregon Gunner, we